o'clock.
Volume's up.
All right, call to order the August 5th, 2020 Ordinance Committee meeting. There's nobody here for public comment, so I will need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So move.
Second.
All right, and item number 4 is consider electronic summons ordinance. Do we want Robbie to explain that to us, or?
Yes. I believe it was,
It's on the board if you want to see it.
yeah, I believe it was back in 2014, I think, the General Assembly basically allowed localities, being towns, counties, and so forth, to collect a $5 fee, which is added to every train of thought there. It's added to every court cost.
It's added every charge.
Yeah,
in all
yeah.
three courts.
It goes through the JNDR court, the General District Court, and the Circuit Court. So any charges, basically warrants, summonses, anything that comes back to Chincoteague, they'll add a $5 if we, if the council, if you all go home and the council approves it, they'll add just a $5 fee to the court cost. That $5 fee comes back to us, and it has to be set up in a separate account, through our treasurer, and we can hold it as long as we want to. Basically, what a lot of places are doing, they're getting the bulk of it together before they even start, doing the e-summons. But we can, and it'll be charged for as long as, we see fit. The only stipulation is it can only be used for this e-summon system. Any equipment, upgrades, anything like that. That's the only, not really a drawback, I guess. This year, I think, or a couple of years ago, they actually, because they had only allowed cities, towns, and stuff, so they'd include the state police in it. I've got what the state police, of course, they always do, what do you call them? A pilot program on most everything. So we found where they have briefly, this isn't a whole, because I think their pilot program is running for 2 years, but that's what they did. And they did it in Northern Virginia. I think they took 10 troopers and supervisors and so forth. And, they've gone through that. Basically, what they have found is that it's saving them about 16 minutes per stop that they're doing. In there, I believe it says that the state police handles about 500,000 vehicle stops in a year.
Wow.
So, they're looking at that as a cost savings to them for having the officers back on the road.
How long's an average stop, Robbie?
They've got in there 26 minutes, I think. Ours is, I would say.
So it's more than
ours is-
half.
Huh?
So they're saving more than half.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I would say ours from most of, if you listen to Scanner, or anything, most of ours, because we have our summonses partially pre-filled out with all the information, like our, jurisdiction
Right.
code and then, the town code and everything. So we usually spend anywhere from, I'll say about 15 minutes to stop, 12 to 15 minutes. So I'm looking at, if we were to go to this, it would probably cut us back to, 6-7 minutes. Probably cut it in half also. And of course, the nice thing about it, not necessarily for the police department, but the courts, everything is automatically, sent to the court. So they don't have any problems with handwriting, from some of the officers and so forth. Everything's just right there. We won't have to.
Take summonses down and all that.
No, we won't have to worry about that. And I think, from according to that report, I believe that they said they pay about, 9 cents a summons, I believe, per
I saw that somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And And the cost per summons is what they figured out so far is about 16 cents for the e-summons. So it's a little bit, more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But I had Tyler today also contact this Tyler Technologies is the company that the state police has used, and I think most of the other localities in Virginia that have been doing pilot programs or have gone to this or have used also. Because, the way I was looking at it, and I told Mike, I said, we can collect the money, and then, we can always just wait and do like one car at a time,
Mm-hmm.
as we get the money.
Right.
But I had Tyler, call the technologies people and told him, we had 5 cars, let's get a price,
Mhm.
for doing all 5 cars. And basically, roughly, he said, it would be a total of $29,717 to, outfit all 5 cars. We'll use our same computers that they have. We'll have to get printers,
Mm-hmm.
printer paper, and of course, that's the software, the maintenance agreement and all for the first year of the software.
So
And-
this $5 has got to add up quick.
Well, and that's what I said, we don't have to do this all at once.
Right.
Right.
I mean, if we had a extra banner year this year, like we were talking about Monday night and everything come, act great, and, if we were able to find $30,000,
Yeah.
somewhere that we could do all 5, then it would be like a reimbursement type.
We could do several things, like Robbie was talking about, we could do one car at a time, and as we pay that one off to another one, we could do it all at one time and pay off the whole shooting match. But a couple of things, just to clarify, this is not based on convictions, it's based on being charged.
Right.
So even if you're charged,
Summonses.
you get charged this court fee. And the clerk's office is the ones that's pushing this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
They want to see, they're the ones that want to see it done. It'll automate things and make things easier for them.
Yeah,
So they like all-
Francina Chisholm was the one that actually called me from the court, and she said that, the state police have already requested, and all the towns and everybody, see, we have to, it says right in there, we have to, have to be an ordinance, you have to,
That's the Code
Yeah.
of Virginia reference for this. It limits the amount you can charge to $5, because to pay it off,
Mhm.
I would've made it 15.
Right.
Yeah, how often does somebody get charged? How
Yeah.
would they complain about $15? But in any event, the ordinance was written around that. It's all pretty much the same language as the state's ordinance, just with our specifics put in it, so.
How many summonses do you issue a year roughly?
roughly about 1,000, sometimes it's 900, or
And that's
something
just
like
traffic violations.
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, that's just traffic,
That's a
probably
car.
With,
It's a car.
with warrants and, everything, I would say about, 1,200 to 1,300.
So as far as the software agreement and that kind of stuff, do we know what yearly, let's just say
Yes.
we spent $30,000, what would it cost us a year to?
Let's see here.
Yeah, you got that up, Keith.
Recurring,
That's why
recurring
we're
annual
updates.
fee is $2,940
Mhm.
for maintenance, and that's not charged in the first year, as I said.
Mhm.
And then it's a $980 fee for data hosting, so it's gonna be about $4,000 a year.
So basically what you're looking at is about 2/3 just going to maintenance.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I think eventually it's gonna come to
Mhm.
pretty much everywhere anyway.
I think Maryland's already doing it, aren't they?
Yeah, I believe so,
'Cause-
yeah. And, just what little bit of research I have done so far, Dinwiddie, I think Winchester was one. A lot of the, the ones out west, a lot of the departments. Did you say Virginia Beach had done it or not?
Yes, and no, it wasn't. I got this sample ordinance from Richmond, City of
Richmond,
Richmond, so
yeah.
they've already done it.
Is there any grant money out there to, like,
That's a
get you
grant, same
started
thing.
up with anything, or is it
Not-
all on?
Probably not yet.
All
No,
on
I
your
think
own.
that's why they have done this. I haven't checked into, any grants for this
Mhm.
yet. I will check into it and see, but I would dare say, if we're getting grants, then we can,
Right.
And I will tell you this, I searched all the cities in the Tidewater area, and I could not find, they all use that municipal code software for their ordinances. I could not find this ordinance anywhere in Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Newport News.
Wow.
So I'm not sure that they have it, or maybe the search criteria I was using didn't hit it, but it hit it on Richmond right away, so the city of Richmond has it.
So, and I'm sure they generated a lot of summonses and things of that nature. So if we pass this ordinance, then that would possibly preclude us if there were any kind of grant monies out there. If we pass.
I don't know, I'm not sure that, you know,
So my thing would be, and I have no problems with this at all, but maybe we should check that before we make a recommendation to council.
Sure.
And then if not, then,
Yeah.
you know, just because we passed the ordinance doesn't mean, like you said, we don't have to outfit everything right now. We can take our time and do it
Exactly.
right.
wherever way we want to.
If we were to, say if we were to implement this starting January 1, how much money would he need to outfit one car starting January 1?
What we figure was $6,000.
By $6,000?
Yeah, about
$6 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it may be a little bit more, you know, with this
Yeah.
company, if we're just doing one at a time. Well, no, it probably will be more than that.
Yeah, because
a
you
lot
got-
of this is the license.
Right.
And there's I could give you a copy of this too. I just got it, and I got back from Dre's funeral.
That's all right.
And Tyler had just got this email. But, yeah, like, the license fee is $42.50 for 5 vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Non-Tyler interface, which I'm thinking that may be with the circuit, with the Virginia Supreme Court and through the General District Courts, $9,750. So the software totals $14,000.
I just hate that the state or would want to put this on towns and counties and then expect them to
Unfunded
fund it
mandate.
all, like they're gonna pull money out of you behind somewhere.
Well, that's why they've done this. I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm not coming,
And-
I'm not coming and saying this is something that we need.
No,
right
no,
now.
Right,
we know.
I know.
You know,
And
if
to
we
back
just-
that up, $5 is too cheap. If you're gonna give me a
I,
$100 phone.
I agree with that too.
You know,
Well, I think.
Yeah, if I done the deed, it's time to.
that's right,
Yeah.
you know.
And-
That's the least of your worries.
Really?
Yeah, but see, this isn't the only. Court fees right now, as far as I know, at least when I left Accomack, they were $61. So, you know, this
So
is
that's
adding
$66.
$66.
And I will say this too, because I have not looked into this yet, but if another locality in the state of Virginia has done this and they have a purchase order for it, we can piggyback on that purchase order. So we'll find somebody who's done this and done it with the equipment more cheaply.
Right.
We can piggyback on that purchase order and get it at the same price. And that helps because somebody like the city of Richmond who might have 300 police cars got it a much better deal because of all the volume. If we can piggyback on their purchase order and get the same price, then we get our old 4 cars for the same price they got 300 for. That's a very good, that's a very.
Awesome,
good
I agree with that.
possibility.
Yeah.
All right.
So
The
Robbie,
only thing, but see, I agree with that to an extent, but I don't think that's gonna happen because this is software license mostly. See, the only equipment really we're gonna have extra is the printer that has to go in the car, and then,
There's a mountain thing too, isn't it? Didn't I see in here some kind of mounting?
oh, that's state police.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but see, when I told Tyler, I said, let them know everything, we sent him our computers that we have now, the model number and everything. And they said that, you know, the only thing that they know is the Brother Pocket Jets is the printer. And then they did say down at the bottom that we can get an Eltron DL scanner at $336 each. And that's,
For the
so we can
license.
just run the license
Mhm.
and the registration card too, just scan it.
I just wonder if it's cheaper to do it in one lump sum than do one car at a time.
yeah, that's something we'll need to look at
Yeah,
A
because,
lot of times when you do a bulk
yeah,
purchase, it's cheaper to do
Well-
all of them at once than.
If it would take us more than a couple of years, we'd be subject to price increases too.
absolutely.
Right.
And you're paying for the 5 cars for a licensing that you're not using.
Yeah.
Right.
So, that's something to look at too.
Robbie, or Mike, either one, the money that we get back from the county in fines, can that help go towards the purchase of this, or you got that wrapped up in
That's
something
up
else?
to, he's the boss.
Yeah, I mean.
It's all for your budget.
I can't imagine it's a huge amount, I'll check into
Yeah.
it, but I can't imagine it's huge, but yeah, I don't see why not.
What I was told before, I haven't talked to Karen much, you know, since I've been chief, but I know when I was here, you know, captain, she told me that she don't know how these other towns supposedly, finance officers you know.
Yeah.
That's because they sit out on 13 and.
Oh, I can tell you why, yeah.
13. That's how he's
Right.
billing all them,
That's how
yeah,
only goes it.
Yeah.
Sure.
yeah.
I guess I'm looking at, any little bit would help.
Which, see, the thing with that is, it's just like I was explaining it to Mike this morning, we only get back a fine. So if we charge somebody with, you know, running a stop sign, $25, then that's all we get back. See, right now, we don't get any of the court costs.
Right, right.
You know, the court cost
Just
goes
get
to the
phone
court,
calls.
and then, you know.
With this, you would only get, you would get the $5 and
the fine and the extra $5, yeah, yeah, so.
So is there any reason why, if we wanted to, let's just say we decided that we wanted to, you know, it's October, we see our finances are better than we thought they would be. Is there any reason that we couldn't set the fee to $10 with the thought that, hey, we're gonna do this for about 3 years until?
State code limits.
Oh, state code, okay, $5, okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
That was my
I
only
would've made it
question.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah, the General Assembly got us there.
What
I
would you
get
like
it.
to see, Robbie? You'd like to see us send this on to council to, I mean, you're in favor of this as chief? I mean, you
Oh,
think it's
yeah.
gonna come to
Yeah,
it?
and
We
like
need
I
to do
said,
it?
you know, it's not something, you know, that, the sooner, to me, the sooner we can get it approved to start collecting the money, the better. You know, and like I said, then we can decide, you know, if we want, because we, you know, I mean, I was looking at, you know, probably before I got this, I was, because I mean, Mike was talking, I was, you know, looking at probably 2 years
Mhm.
before we would even get the first.
No,
one.
I don't see any reason why not to.
You know, and that's if we were just, you know, waiting for the money to build up ourselves.
Mhm.
But, you know, I mean, if we at least get this in, if, you know, we're gonna say, yes, we're gonna go through with this. And like I said, I believe someday in the future, it's probably all gonna go to it.
Mhm.
Like I said, the reason Francina called me was she's calling every locality and
Mhm.
trying to get them to get it approved
Mhm.
by their council. Because it, you know, it'll be easier on them if everybody's doing it, sheriff's office, only, Hancock, Parksland, Bloxham. If they're all doing it, when people call up to get the cost of their tickets and so forth, then they don't have to go, okay, well, wait a minute, you were written in Parksley, so, you know, Parksley's not charging, and I don't have to put the extra $5, or if they, you know, Shanghai getting the extra $5. So it'll just make it easier on them as a whole.
One more question I have, or what other towns in the county have done it, do you know?
No, I don't know of any yet, no. She called me back, I think it was the end of May.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't long after I got here.
Yeah, but she did tell me that she was calling every one of them and, you know, gonna try to get them all on board.
I'll make the motion that we send it to council for discussion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 5, consider changes to flood ordinance.
Okay, pull it up there so we can see.
Man, I told Mike when I came in, I've been looking over what he sent with this flood ordinance stuff, and y'all's gonna have to explain to me a little bit like I'm the third grader.
He can probably explain it better than any of us, the way he doesn't.
I've got it. I'll just do it from here, I mean, so I can control it back and forth. This is not really a huge change. The town of Shintig, as most of you know, already has a freeboard
2 foot.
section in their flood ordinance.
Right.
The flood ordinance says you have to go to base flood elevation with all new construction. The town of Shintig, in order to get a better rating, and we're rated an 8 now, the lower the numbers like golf, the better rating you are. In 2015, in May of 2015, FEMA redid flood insurance. They redid base flood elevations. Here's the first one here. They lowered basically the base flood elevation all over the island. There's a bunch of different zones now. Instead of 80% of the island being 8 foot, now we have everything from 3 all the way to 6 feet. That is for new structures. Well, I'm sorry, base flood elevations for all structures. For new construction, at the same time, the same month, as a matter of fact, the town adopted a freeboard ordinance. And by going 2 feet above the base flood elevation for all new structures, or substantially, all new replaced or substantially improved structures, we were able to get a better rating from the ISO, and that's the insurance, something like that. Okay, so we're now an 8. ISO contacted us in May and said that starting January 1st of next year, they are making some changes. And basically the change is, prior to January 1st, you could build, when you built a new structure, the elevation of the floor had to be at freeboard, which is 2 feet above the base flood elevation. Mechanical equipment and what they call equipment or mechanical items could be base flood elevation or higher. Okay? They did not, which was 2 feet below freeboard. The house had to be at the freeboard level. Let's say the base flood elevation at this area is 4 foot, and I know it is, it's 4 foot here. So if you're going to build a new structure here, you have to build it at base flood plus 2 feet, that's freeboard, so you have to build it at 6. However, when you put your mechanical equipment in, it only had to be at the original base flood, which is still 4. Okay? And mechanical equipment includes your
Air handlers,
air handler, the condenser for your air handler, hot water heater, a bunch of different things. Those are the most common
a
things.
lot of your mechanical stuff.
Yeah, ductwork even
Mhm.
is classified. So what they're doing is saying that now all these mechanical items have to be at freeboard as well.
Ooh.
Okay, so here's the thing. This year, starting in January 2021, they're only making the mechanical items be at 1 foot freeboard, which in this case, in this property right here at 4, mechanical items would have to be at 5, while the
Mhm.
building had to be at 6.
Mhm.
Okay, what we've written here, Kenny and I discussed it, it's only gonna be at 1 foot for a year, next year we're going to 2. So we just made everything at 2. It makes the code simpler to understand, we don't have to change the code again next year. Most people are building it that way anyhow. Most people are putting everything at floor level. If you wanna split hairs, and I do, as you know, I do a lot of these elevation surveys, if you wanna split hairs and do it, that's fine. I recommend all builders, I said, don't split hairs, man, because after you do it, it's expensive to change it. Give yourself 6 inches, give them a block, 8 inches, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
It's a little more expensive, but you know you're good, you know, and it doesn't hurt on a shingle to be higher. So in any event, the only thing we've changed here, if you see in red, we changed, we added the term equipment and or mechanical item servicing the structure. That's just another thing that has to be at freeboard, that's all we're adding. It's the same thing for mobile homes, which is a little farther down here. There it is, equipment and or mechanical items servicing the structure. That's the change. That should take us for a while. That helps us maintain our ISO rating. And at an 8, which, as you know, when you have a better rating, everybody on the island, everybody in the community gets a better flood insurance rate. And that's a very worthwhile thing. So it's that simple. It's that simple a change.
So Matt, I'm asking you as a contractor, this basically
Well-
it doesn't make anything harder
Well,
on you,
all
does
it does is if you end up with a house that doesn't have the ability, like a 2-story house, and you don't have the ability to run ductwork in the ceiling to service the downstairs, if you're doing a split zone system, you don't have the ability to service that downstairs, but from underneath.
Mhm.
What I end up doing is building the house, the block work and everything above this 2-foot freeboard to allow for the duct work. You can get by with, you need to do at least 2 blocks. You need at least 16 inches to cover
Mhm.
any kind of duct work.
So you've been kind of doing that anyway?
Well, you can ask Mike, he does a lot of the surveys for me, and I take and I go 1 block above the 2-foot freeboard, so that everything, all frame and everything's out of any kind of flood zone at all.
Wait, and then he goes, his block work is at freeboard. Above that, and his floor is the only thing that has to be above freeboard, so that gives you, I mean, you use 2x10 joists, you're still
2x10s,
12 inches.
2x12, yeah.
You still got that?
You still got 12 inches, time you put the plate on to get there, so he ends
Yeah.
up 12 inches, at minimum 12 inches above.
I always do that, just,
Yeah.
and it saves the homeowner a ton on flood insurance,
Right.
being that much
Right.
higher, so.
Because even though the community has a rating, an individual homeowner that builds higher is, they're.
You get preferred.
If the base flood elevation used to be at 8 foot, if I shot a building and it was at 9, they give you a break for 8. When you go to 9, they give you a bigger break.
Mhm.
So it helps the homeowner.
And it's like I always tell them, it costs, depending on the size of the house, it might cost you $2,000 or $3,000 extra for that one more course of block, depending on how big it is.
Well,
But you'll get it back
Yeah.
in 2
Absolutely.
years
Right.
in insurance savings. I
Right.
mean, and then you look at the long run, you're saving a ton of money. So that's just the way I've always done it. I've always made sure that I'm safe, and I always go at least a block above what the freeboard, what it's supposed to be at finished floor. So then all the wood, all the structure is completely out of the picture.
Okay.
I don't see this being a problem. You're gonna have a few that are gonna give a little kickback on it because they're trying to save every dime.
Sure.
But this, to me, I think is a no-brainer. If it keeps our insurance rating, and, I mean, it's a simple equation when you figure the house, make sure you allow for it. It's simple.
And it is painted with a broad brush. It treats everybody the same.
Yep.
Yep.
All contractors building on the island are going to be forced with the same rules. So,
Mhm.
I make a motion, send it to council for
I
approval.
second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you. And
All right, moving on to item number 6, consider remote meeting participation ordinance. Now, does this have to do with Zoom meetings and that makes people to be able to,
possibly, but the reason I put this in there, and I discussed it with Denise some time ago, what put it in my mind to look and see if we had it was when she went to New Jersey and missed a meeting. There is a mechanism in the state code by which members can participate and a local body can participate from off-site. There's a few rules with it, and really the code is, the daggone state code seems to be more complicated than it needs to be. So I kind of pulled the pieces out and put them in something that resembles it. But basically, and I'll use Denise for an example. When she went to New Jersey and we had a meeting that night, let's say you're just sitting in the hotel room watching TV. If you want to join the meeting, and I've done it with the school board many times, I just simply had the member call in on my cell phone, put it on speaker, and put it on the desk, and you're participating in the meeting. It's that simple. You can hear everything goes on. Most cell phone speakers and mics are pretty good now. And when you turn the volume up, if the member wants to say anything, most of the time, if you put it near the chairman can recognize that member to speak. Now, the rules that go along with that. First and foremost, we'll hit them in order here. Such member that wants to do this is unable to attend, you have to tell the mayor or the vice mayor, whatever the case, whoever's presiding over the meeting, that you are unable to attend the meeting due to a temporary or permanent disability or other medical condition that prevents the member's attendance, physical attendance. I'll use the school board again. Ms. Audrey Furness had a problem with her foot or something like that, and she participated in all kinds of meetings that way. We just called her at the beginning of the meeting, put her on speaker. B, such member is unable to attend the meeting due to a personal matter and identifies with specificity the nature of the personal matter. Participation by a member of council pursuant to this subdivision is limited to each year to 2 meetings. This would be the case Denise said. She didn't have a physical disability to be there. She had to be at another event. And that's allowable. But if that's the reason you're using, you can only do it twice a year. If you have a physical disability, you can participate in all 12 meetings.
So if one of us would get, God forbid, we'd have quarantine for COVID,
You can
then
participate
we
in
could
meetings.
participate, okay.
And if it's an illness, you can participate in all 24 meetings. It's not a big deal. But
Right.
like I said, if it's a personal matter, I just don't want to be here tonight. I don't want to look at you people while I'm talking. You can do that twice a year.
Mhm.
Now, that's the first set of criteria. Participation by a council member through electronic communication means, if approved pursuant to subdivision 1, which is before this, the meeting shall record in its minutes the remote location from which the member participated. Not a big deal. The Holiday Inn in New Jersey, whatever. However, the remote location need not be open to the public, so it can be your private hotel room. Once approved pursuant to the subdivision 1A, which is a physical reason, the minutes of the meeting shall include the fact that the members participating with electronic means due to a temporary or permanent disability or other medical condition that prevented the members' physical attendance. So you have to say it's for physical disability in the minutes. If participation is approved by 1B, which is a personal matter, you have to, the minutes have to say why you're not there and that you're not there and be specific as to why you're not there. So that's that. Going down to part B here, you got four more things that pertain to it. First off, you cannot have, if a quorum for the council would be 4 council members, correct? You have to have a quorum on site before anybody can participate remotely. You can't have 2 on site and the other 4 participating remotely. So you have to have a quorum in the room. You can't use the person participating off site to make up your quorum.
Is it 3 or more?
I think it's 4 or more voted. I'm not sure, I'll look it up.
I think it's 4 to vote, but 3
3.
to,
Open.
Have it hold a
to
meeting.
meet, yeah.
All right, so I'll look that up. So anyhow, if you don't have a quorum in the room, you can't do the remote participation
Right.
thing. The members of the council would have to, and this is usually done the very first thing after you open the meeting, is you ask for a motion or ask for a vote to allow the member to participate remotely. Okay? And if you don't have a majority vote to allow you to participate remotely, you can't do it. And number 3 pertains to that. Approval of participation shall be applied strictly and uniformly without exception to the entire membership of the council without regard to the identity of the member requesting remote participation or the matters that will be considered or voted on at the meeting. If you think the member that's asking to participate remotely, you can't deny their participation in the meeting just because you know they're going to vote against what you're going to bring up tonight. And believe me, you can see a situation where that would be done.
Probably.
You know, no, he's not participating because if he does, he's going to vote against me buying another firehouse or something. You know, here we go. So, I mean, that's a little difficult to enforce, but it has to be. And the way I can see this being enforced, if you deny participation to a member for any reason, and then later that year you have a different member asking to participate, and you don't deny that one, and you're not being consistent, so somebody's going to have an axe to grind. And the 4th one, the council has to make arrangements for the voice of a remote participant to be heard by all persons at the primary location, and usually a cell phone on speaker does the job there. You can do it all kinds of fancy ways. You can participate by Zoom. We can put you up on a big screen. You know, I mean, that qualifies certainly as well. But in any event, I thought this would be nice to put this in our code so that if a member is not able to be here for any reason, there's a way they can participate. It's fairly simple after you've done it a couple times, and I've seen it done. It works. So that's the long and short of it. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them for you.
I didn't ask about this. I didn't know anything about it. Mike brought it to my attention. Because there's been a couple times, quite a few times, that I've not been at council meetings either.
And I
one time.
wasn't picking on you. It's just
Oh,
that's
I know.
what I remember.
No, I mean,
You know, one time I had surgery and couldn't be at, you know, this time I was out of town on a personal matter.
I travel for work, so
Yeah,
I can
you
certainly.
travel. I like it for the fact that even though you know, you may have to be out of town, you can still participate and have a voice.
Mhm.
And who knows? It would definitely apply to any of us.
And I should say, if there's a quorum in the room and you vote remotely, your vote counts.
Right.
Even if, as long as there's a quorum in the room, you not only can sit and listen, but you can vote as well.
Right. The only question I had, and the only concern I have with any of this is when it comes to a medical reason, so basically you can miss as much as you want if it's medically related. You know, I have a little bit of question about, are you really fulfilling your term? Let's just say something really happens and somebody, you know, I think there needs to be a limited time on that, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, whatever that is. You know, because you could have somebody literally that gets elected and may have some type of disability, and I'm not saying that that's wrong or anything, but they can't actively participate is what I'm saying. You know, they can't actively be available to the
I think
public.
there's something in our code book that covers that, don't it?
I'll check it out, but I'll put the shoe on the other foot for a minute. How about if you have someone that's physically disabled, and you're saying that if they're physically disabled and unable to leave the house for some reason, I don't know what that would be, that they can't, if they're elected, duly elected by the citizenship, that they can't be a councilman because they can't be present in the room?
So what would we have done before this?
Probably ask a lawyer, what can we do?
That's probably what we need to. That's probably what we need to do.
Okay.
That's probably what, because I mean, I'm just trying to look at it from the glass half empty.
I do believe there's something in the code book though that says about if a council member misses X amount of meetings.
There actually is.
Well, if it says miss the meetings, but does it say,
I don't think it
No,
really.
I don't think it
gives why.
clarifies.
yeah.
It doesn't.
The
give
reason.
Why,
Just says,
yeah.
But does it say miss the meeting altogether, or does it say not show up in the room?
it says not present, I believe.
Not present? Okay.
I believe, and I've only half glanced at it.
And that,
But you're right, there is something in there.
And that was probably written at a time when they didn't have the electronic
Right.
means to
Right.
be able
Oh,
to
I'm
do
sure.
this.
Right.
So I can consult our attorney and find out what's being done. I'm sure somebody's figured it out already.
Absolutely. But I like it because, just especially what's going on now with pandemics and things like that,
Right.
because it does give us that vehicle if someone is quarantined or whatever it may be, or, you know, if somebody unfortunately gets sick. I mean, I certainly know what that's like. And, you know, it does give you a vehicle to do that with.
Would you all consider letting Mike look into those few little things and if, you know, add that in there and then.
Yeah, I'm
present
fine.
it
It's
to
gonna take
council?
council's vote anyway.
Yeah, then present it to council
Mhm.
at the next,
Yeah, that way we don't have to wait 2
Regular.
months.
yeah.
Yeah,
You all right with that?
I'll make a motion for that.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And I'll look into those things. I will probably email back to you, so that we don't have to wait for another meeting. I'll email back to
Absolutely.
you the results of that, and you can tell me to move forward or not. If,
Mhm.
well, you can recommend it to council or not at the next meeting.
Okay. All right, committee member comments. Start with you, Denise.
I don't have anything, sir.
I don't have a thing either.
That goes for me too. All
Make a
right,
motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
all right. We adjourn.
Thank y'all.